In today's episode, I'm joined by Amy Jones, the founder of TerraFauna Journeys, a conservation-first travel company on a mission to change the way we explore the world. Amy shares how her own journey led to building a brand rooted in emotional connection, responsible tourism, and a redefinition of luxury that prioritizes meaning over excess. From the evolving expectation of travelers to the inspiring role of the next generation in global conservation, this conversation is a must listen for anyone craving more purpose in the way we travel. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Foundry Talks. I'm Rachel Stoyanovsky, and today I'm joined by someone who is working to help redefine what meaning travel looks like. Amy Jones is the founder of TerraFauna Journeys, a purpose-led travel company that doesn't just take you to the wild, it invites you to become part of protecting it. From highland forests to remote conservation frontlines, TerraFauna blends deep presence, emotional connection, and real-world impact. So, Amy, we are so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you, Rachel. I really appreciate the kind introduction. Super excited to be here too.
Yeah, so we will just jump right in. We've talked before, and one thing that has stood out to us and something that you said was that the way we travel has to change, and I want to be part of that change. So take us back to that moment when you realized that.
Sure, yeah. So I'll take you back to 2008. I was traveling through Belize in the region down in Placencia and going for a walk one day and came across a mural of a cruise ship, and above it said, "We don't want no cruise ships here." And I was starting to wonder why, and a gentleman named Gio, still a good friend of mine, passed by, and I said, "Can you please explain this to me?" And he said, he started telling me about all the impacts that these big cruise liners can have on small communities and how it's kind of diminishing culture and impacting the environment and the reef system. And so that's when I knew I had to jump in and came back to the States, and that's when I went back to school for traveling or studying sustainable tourism.
Amazing. So from that moment, before we get into really what called you to build TerraFauna Journeys, what did your background look like, and what did you do after school, and what has your experience been since then?
Sure, yeah. I've had an awesome ride in this industry, including surviving a pandemic.
Yeah.
But I was really lucky. A good mentor and friend of mine, his name's Ted Martins. He's the chief marketing officer at Natural Habitat. He was my sustainable travel or sustainable tourism professor.
Amazing.
And he brought me on for a really interesting internship with them in their marketing department. That really launched my career. From there, I worked in student travel, and then I came on with Natural Habitat and worked on conservation travel. So I worked for for-profit, non-profit, across adventure travel, conservation travel, student travel, even with Road Scholar and educational travel trips for older folks. A lot of my background is in operations and sustainability. So yeah, that's a snapshot on kind of how I got here over the last 15 years.
I love it. And, I feel like it's just kind of been your life's journey that's gotten you to this point. But was there any specific moment or catalyst that really called you to build TerraFauna Journeys now?
Yeah, I think it's multifaceted. There was a couple things that happened simultaneously. I was seeking to grow into a new role in my career, and I kind of just kept hitting a glass ceiling with that. And one common thread, as you're probably not surprised, throughout my career has been really pushing the envelope on, raising that bar on conservation and sustainability. And I think it can be hard when you're already a really established organization to integrate those things quickly.
Yeah.
And there proved to be a lot of challenges there. So in hitting this glass ceiling and wanting to do more impactful work, I was out to dinner with friends one night, and four of them came to me and they were like, "I want to go to South Africa with my partner. I want to go to Japan. What do you think about Scotland?" And I'm like, I'm an expert in this. I think it's time. It's time. The
It's
universe
time.
is calling.
It's time. Oh, I love that. So, okay, so then why TerraFauna? What gap did you see in the travel space, and what is TerraFauna? It's obviously it's not just speaking to this amazing trip, but the real mission behind it is the conservation efforts. So, was that the main gap that you saw, or were there other things? And why now, I
Yeah,
guess?
sure. Good question. Yeah. So I'm telling a lot of people we're just a conservation company doing it by way of
Yeah,
travel. So of course, we're all feeling this need and this desire to do more to support the health of our planet.
yeah,
We live in a wild world right now, and I think people are seeking ways to help the planet and to give back and live in ways that aren't extractive. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really the big thing behind it. But I would also say what's unique about us is we're targeting a different demographic than a lot of luxury tour operators.
yeah.
I myself, I just turned 40 this year. I have a lot of friends that are in my age gap, and I've had them come to me and say, I tried planning this itinerary with AI and I need your help. And and I think something that's unique about our age group is we've been traveling since we were
Yeah,
18, 19 years old. That's a little different than the generation before us.
yeah,
So we're pretty comfortable traveling. We've gone to lots of far-flung corners of the planet, and we're really seeking out the experts to tell us, okay, where should we be going next? And the bigger thing too is we want to be doing it responsibly.
yeah,
And so, I think what TerraFauna is really providing is we're cutting out that noise for everyone because there's a lot of noise in the space right now, and being that expert for folks in that demographic.
yeah. And one thing that, I think in a world so full of really polished eco marketing, you know, I love that you really insist on something raw and real. And why is that so important to you?
Yeah, good question. That's my personality. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm pretty raw and real. I'm the kind of person that can meet a perfect stranger, and within 5 minutes, I know some of their greatest challenges and greatest successes.
Yeah,
I think it's really important, especially in this advanced technological world, to remember that we're all human. We are actually animals ourselves, and we crave to be witnessed, we crave to be seen, and we crave that connection. And so I think, making it an emotional connection back to the planet felt really important to me, just just so it like remains real for people.
yeah. One of the my favorite things that I've heard you say so much is that Terrafauna is really redefining luxury because the mission really is conservation. And I'd love to just get your take for people who've never heard you talk about it because it's so fun to listen to you talk about it. Is what does that really mean? Like, access over excess, and what those, it made me think of it when you said, friends are saying we can't plan this with AI. And it's because you can't do some of the things that you're able to do on these journeys without that expert and without those partners and without your 20 years in the industry making all of these connections. So for
Yeah.
people who have never heard you talk about it before, I'd love to just give them a little insight into like your passion and really this driving force behind it all.
Sure, yeah, it's a great question. Um, I would say in the early 2000s, luxury became a big thing in the industry where it was all about thread counts and
Mm-hmm.
welcome champagnes and your sundowners, but we're all used to that now. And
Yeah.
that's kind of becoming the standard, especially in the luxury market. And so for me, I guess twofold, the access over excess is important because one, going through AI, you're gonna find like the cool Airbnb experiences and all of those things. Full
Yeah.
transparency, I just did one in Thailand. It was great. It was a cooking class. So there's a time and place for those too, but also, I guess a couple of examples of that, you know, connection that Terrafauna can bring you. Having done this for so many years, I have access to folks like a cheetah rewilding center in South Africa, or a rhino birthing center, where you can actually come in with those researchers and learn about the rhino reintroduction programs and
Amazing.
the IVF programs with rhinos that you can't Google that
Right.
and get that access to those folks. So not only, I guess it's, yeah, the twofold is luxury is being able to see these endangered species in their natural habitats, but
Yeah.
also, yeah, that access to these people that are doing the good work.
Out of the upcoming trips that you have, what do you think is the most, and having been to so many of these places, is there an organization or an experience like that that you feel like really every time always blows people away to where it's like
Mm.
more than they could have imagined?
Yeah, that's a tough one because
How do you
so
narrow it
many good
down?
work, so many, yeah, lots of good work happening in the world. I think we all
Yeah.
need to remain very hopeful because there's lots of good people doing lots of good work.
Yeah.
But I would say the first one that comes to mind, and one that a lot of people are probably familiar with, is Rewilding Chile. They're the daughter organization of the Tompkins Foundation, Doug and Christine Tompkins, who went down to Patagonia and preserved and protected acres and acres of land. And now, all of that land has been donated back to the country of Chile. And that consists of over 1.3 million acres of land in southern Chile. And that's
Wow.
inclusive of 9 different parks, not just Patagonia.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I think that example alone is just a true testament to people investing their lives and doing this good work. And,
Yeah.
along with that, the rewilding projects with the rewilding of the pumas
Yeah.
and the guanacos and bringing these keystone species back. I mean, we saw that happen in Yellowstone here in our country really successfully too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. The more that I look into all of the trips and all of the like excursions that you actually get to experience and do, it's like, okay, when are we going?
Well, come on, let's
I
go.
know. Okay, so then for like on the guest side of things, what does a TerraFauna guest look like emotionally, practically? Who are these trips really meant for?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, someone that's really looking for a way to travel responsibly. And I
Yeah.
know that can feel broad, but I think it's everything from leave no trace to I know flights are very controversial, how to think not just doing carbon offsetting, but more innovatively about how to offset your carbon footprint,
Yeah.
but then the impact side of it, people that are looking for their dollars to actually have
Impact.
tangible impacts on the destinations that they get to visit.
Yeah. Love that. Okay, can you share with us a moment from a journey when someone maybe shifted from more of an observer or a tourist to more of a collaborator? Does any experience like that come to mind? Or maybe it's a
Hmm.
personal experience too.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, well, once again, lots of good people, good-hearted people out there. So many folks running through my mind, but the first one that I think one of the most impactful examples for me, I was lucky enough to travel with a woman through the greater Yellowstone ecosystem in the winter, and we were in search of the wolves, and we had an incredible trip together. She was an older woman, but she actually braved a night safari with me and went post holing through the snow. And we saw
Amazing.
bison like face to face in the dark. It was amazing.
Amazing.
Um, and at the end of, we were really lucky. We found the Lamar Canyon wolf pack and had some really intimate moments with them. And at the end of the journey, she came to me and she said, Amy, I never had kids, so I don't have any grandchildren. And I would just really love it if you could help me set up. I would like to donate my estate to wolf conservation.
Wow.
And this is no small number. This woman had been very successful in her life. And so,
Wow.
that is why we do all the work that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How incredible. And I mean, that's just one person. I'm sure there's been so many lives impacted by this kind of travel that have
Yeah.
been able to make a big impact like that. It's just incredible.
Yeah, yeah. And you don't have to be a major donor to have an impact either. I think it's important
Yeah.
to point that out. Just by traveling
Yeah.
on a trip, the impacts that your
Yeah.
money is having just by choosing to travel in that way is important.
Yeah. And I think in this time where there's so many different opportunities, being thoughtful about the kind of trip that you're taking. I mean, I think that's like the first step, right? Really looking at, okay, what am I doing? What is the impact? Is there a smarter, or, is there a better choice, a better option to still go where I want to go?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, as tour operators, we need to take the responsibility of really educating people on how to make those decisions because it can
Yeah.
be really hard. I mean, even myself, I was confronted with that decision in Thailand recently with
Yeah.
all of the elephant stuff going on there and trying to sift through what was actually okay and what wasn't for
Yeah.
an expert was hard. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, as experts, we need to definitely be the resource for people.
Yeah. So, for people who may not have as much background, are there tips or tricks or things that they can look out for to be able to identify true partners in conservation?
Yeah, great question. I would say, first of all, look at what kind of partnerships they have
Okay.
or any kind of certifications they have. Some well-known ones, Certified B, 1% for the Planet, the Adventure Trade Travel Association, the Adventure Travel Conservation Fund. There's,
Okay.
a lot of good folks that you can partner with. And as part of being a member of those entities, us being a member, you have to, pledge your sustainability principles and the certified B specifically is a really rigorous process. And so you're knowing that these people are committed because they took the time and the resources
Yeah.
to become members of those programs. But I think too, there's just little things you can look for is how are they marketing themselves? What kind of um, do they have like an about us section at the top of their page that talks about their commitments? What is
Okay.
the language like on their website? What do the
Yeah.
photos look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good place to start.
All good tips. Yeah. And I love that you called out all the specific certifications because I think you don't really realize what goes into getting those certifications. So we'll make sure we link all the ones you mentioned as reputable certifications that people can keep an eye out for.
Sure, yeah.
Um, I would love to hear more just about a time in the field or with a wildlife or local partner that just has really stayed with you.
Ooh. Um, okay, this is when I talk about polar bears. So when
Love.
I was little, my father collected National Geographics, and I would sneak into his office and thumb through them and imagine adventuring through the world and seeing all these beautiful animals in their habitats. In 2015, when I came on with Natural Habitat, I got hired on the polar bear team. And my first day on the job, I was flying up to the subarctic. And so when I came face to face with my first polar bear, uh, it's a moment that could still bring me to tears.
Yeah.
It's just so incredibly special to be able to see such an incredible, just major fauna species in such a fragile ecosystem.
Yeah.
And, a species that our kids could not have the chance to even get to know about.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when I knew I was doing the work that I should be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what a special moment to have not idolized, but just to have dreamed about this. From seeing it in National Geographic and like learning so much about them and then seeing it all like full circle. I'm sure that was just like kind of like, is this real? Is this really happening? Just in such an
Yeah.
inspiring moment.
Yeah, definitely surreal. But
Yeah.
there's a number of those. I mean, and when you really start to connect with wildlife, call me crazy, but I have this theory that
Okay.
the wildlife can sense it and they know that you respect them and if you do, they show up.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so many examples from baby orcas to peregrine falcons in New Zealand to yeah, it's just such a special moment in time to be able to share that with wildlife.
Yeah. Well, I think that you're probably onto something with your theory because we've been sifting through a lot of your footage from your personal trips, and the wildlife encounters you have had are amazing. And so I think you're right. I think they can sense that they're in good hands with you.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. I was up in the Canadian Arctic with a very experienced expedition leader, and snowy owls are very hard to spot. And we were with a group, and I whispered in his ear, I said, "Is that a snowy owl?" And he said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening." And so he just kind of like guided everyone to look out into the distance and see what they could see. And then, yeah, then we all got to share that really cool experience together. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's incredible. That's incredible. Okay, so we touched on redefining luxury and really what that means. Do you think that I guess, how, for you personally, when you're planning these journeys, what are the elements of luxury in, the eyes of TerraFauna that you're weaving in throughout these journeys for guests and travelers?
Sure, yeah. I think first and foremost, it's that conservation element. So how close can I get people
Yeah.
to the work on the ground and to those educational opportunities to learn about what's happening in the destination and what's being done about it? And then, of course, we do look for well-appointed lodges and well-appointed transportation
Yeah.
and we want you to be comfortable and we want you to feel well taken care of. And I know I mentioned sundowners earlier on, Rachel, but a sundowner in the safari is special. They should always be included. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, there's still those luxury touches, but I do think the most important is that access to conservation.
Yeah. So tell me about some of the partners that you work with in each of these destinations that are helping, defining those luxury moments, or you're working with them to create those luxury moments the way that TerraFauna does it. I'd love to hear more just about some of the ones that guests and travelers can expect to be, being with and partnering with on their journey.
Yeah, sure. So I mentioned Rewilding Chile. We also work with their sister organization, Rewilding Argentina. They're doing a lot of work on the Argentinian side. Um, we're working with Australian Geographic Travel, which is doing wonderful work all across Australia. Um, in Uganda, we're actually partnered with a gentleman that is a reformed poacher turned ranger and now working in tourism to help conserve the chimp and gorilla habitats. We also work with more community focused partners, so like Ride for Women in Uganda, which currently employs, I think, over 300 women and
Wow.
are supporting them with microfinance programs and different employment, like training opportunities. And so, yeah, I would say those are the top three that come to mind.
Awesome. I love it. All right. And so then I guess just what's coming up for TerraFauna? What trips are in the near future? What does the next couple of years look like for TerraFauna?
Sure, yeah. Well, I don't want to put the heart in the cart before the horse here, but I would say a couple that we're excited about or that is kind of in the works. Um, we're thinking about snow leopards. We were also thinking about tigers, of course, them being such an important species in the Nepal region. Um, Brazil is on our radar, potentially Peru. We've got a lot
Amazing.
a lot kind of in the works, so definitely stay tuned to see what's coming out.
Love it.
Yeah, and then what's up with us in the next couple of years? I think we want to grow, but it's important for us to remain focused on our mission of conservation.
Yeah.
I don't ever see TerraFauna becoming this really large tour operator. I see us being just a really intentional small to mid-sized tour operator that is really focusing on conservation and making sure that our work is we're staying focused on what we're good at. I think I was just recently talking to a friend about the art of mastering something and how
Mm,
that is so well done in parts of Asia like Japan.
yeah.
And I think in America we can often just get too scatterbrained. And
Yeah.
so yeah, for me I would like to just really focus on what we do well.
Yeah. Just becoming a master at all of the efforts. It's amazing. And this is a little bit more personal, I think, but if you don't mind, I'd love to just hear, I think a lot of times when we've chatted about conservation and we look at like what has happened and what will continue to happen, like the negative impacts that travel can have. But on the positive front, what does give you hope right now? And what kind of mark do you hope to have yourself and then TerraFauna and the guests that journey with you leave on the industry and this planet?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fully loaded
What question?
question, but I think I've kind of said a number of times throughout our chat that there's so
Yeah.
much good happening. And
Yeah.
I think at a time when we can focus on that negative, it's important to focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Um, and I think one thing that's most exciting is the demand is shifting for this.
Yeah.
I think as a global society and a global community, we're coming together and we're saying we've got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And that to me is really exciting. And
Yeah.
then what coincides with that is people are doing something about it.
Yeah.
So the number of folks that are shifting their careers or moving where they live, moving to other countries and deciding to do the good work, I think
Yeah.
is great.
It's awesome. Yeah, I think that it's it's just so nice to see that there are so many more there's just more of a focus on this type of travel and these types of journeys where I think, 5-10 years ago, it was maybe harder to find things like this, but it's just becoming so much more of a need and something that people are thinking about. And you just see that, which is so great and so inspiring
Yeah.
that people are actually thinking about this instead of just, blindly booking the trip without thinking about any of the impacts that could be having.
Yeah, yeah, I do think it's really exciting. And I think that a lot of that needs to be credited to the small and large voices on the
Yeah.
planet. I mean, if we think about David Attenborough and the work that he's done in the 100 years of his life,
Yeah.
or Greta and just how she is showing up in the world.
Yeah.
And yeah, the younger generation, I think, is just so inspiring. I have a niece that's 21 years old, and they are going to protect this planet. I don't know what happened to them, but whatever did is the right thing.
I love it. I love it. Well, it was watching all of the David Attenborough. That's what did
Exactly.
it.
Right, exactly.
I love it. All right. So, where can people go to learn more about TerraFauna Journeys and book an upcoming journey that you have? The first one is in, I guess the first official TerraFauna journey is in 2026. So we're getting there. So where can they go to learn more and book a journey with you?
Sure, yeah. So they can go to our website, terrafaunajourneys.com. Certainly gather a lot of information there. We're on a couple different social channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then of course, call me. I'm on WhatsApp. Phone number's on the website. Always happy to connect and make a new friend.
I love it. Love it. Well, Amy, thank you so much for coming on today and just sharing your inspiring story and telling us really the reason and mission behind TerraFauna. We're just so excited to see where this all takes you and the impact that you have on this world. And we're just so grateful to have had you on today.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel, for being part of the movement.
We love it. It's a badge we wear with pride.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Absolutely. And if anyone would like to check out more from Foundry Talks, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.